Conductors are an important part of transmission line. Which are the different types of conductors and what are the properties which make them ideal for the transmission we'll be studying in today's video. Hi and welcome back to another new video of power generation, transmission and protection. This is a subject coming under KTU syllabus 5th semester of electrical and electronics engineering students. Before moving into the topics, let's just go through which are the topics we have to cover in module 3. We'll be just going through what are the conductors and different types of conductors, including ACSR conductors. We'll also study which are the volume of conductors required for various systems of transmission lines. We'll cover the Kelvin's law in this module. We'll be just going through the mechanical characteristics of the transmission line, different types of towers, etc., and the calculation of sag also. Also, we'll be covering insulators and different types of insulators, corona, etc. So, let's move on to what are the main components of overhead transmission line. What are the main important components of overhead transmission line? An overhead transmission line is mainly used for transmitting and distributing the electric power, and its successful operation depends upon the mechanical design of the line. So, what are the main components of overhead transmission line? The first one and the important one is the conductor. Conductors are materials which can carry the electric power from a sending end towards the receiving end. Second comes the supports, which may be either poles or towers which keep the conductors at a suitable level above the ground. So I'll try to draw a rough figure of a pole. Here you can see a pole, and you might have seen these structures here. So these structures are known as supports. So here you can call this one as a support. Poles or towers which keep the conductors at a suitable level above the ground are known as supports. Next comes the insulators. So what are insulators? Insulators are attached to the supports and they insulate the conductors from the ground. So you can see that on the poles you can see insulators, and from there the conductors are carried towards the next pole. So these are conductors which are used for carrying the current or electric power from the sending end towards the receiving end. And these structures should not carry the current towards the ground. Okay, so for insulating the conductors from the poles, we have to use insulators. Okay, so that are insulators that are used for insulating the conductors from the ground. Next comes the cross arms. We have to keep the insulators at a particular point. We have to support the insulators, and for this purpose we are having the cross arms. So here you can see different structures. These are insulators, and above the insulators you can see the conductors which are moving towards the next pole. There are different types of insulators we will study in the coming videos. Next are the different miscellaneous items like danger plates, lightning arresters, phase plates, then anti-clamping wires, etc. Okay, so shall we move to the next one, that are the different types of conductor materials. Which are the different types of conductor materials used? Before moving into the types, we should first understand what are the properties the conductors should have for carrying the electric power. So it should have, any conductor which is used should have a high electrical conductivity. Second one is high tensile strength. In order to withstand the mechanical stresses, whenever there are mechanical stresses, it should be having a high tensile strength. It should be able to withstand it. And next comes the lower cost. Why? Because we have to run the transmission lines for a long distance. So low cost is the next property. And the last one is the low specific gravity, so that the weight per unit volume is small. Okay, now we are going to different types of commonly used conductors. First one comes the copper, second aluminium, third one steel coated aluminium, and this one is also known as ACSR. Then comes the galvanized steel and the cadmium copper. So let's first move on to what is copper. Copper is an ideal material. We will be just going through the properties of copper and what makes it ideal for the transmission line. Okay, copper is an ideal material for the overhead transmission line because it's having high conductivity, electrical conductivity and greater tensile strength, which is an ideal property. Okay, The copper has a high current density, which means the current per unit area is very high. Okay, and due to this reason itself, it is having mainly two advantages. The first one is only small area is required for passing a particular amount of current. Why? Because its current density is high, which means it only requires smaller cross sectional area so that it can carry the particular current. The second thing is the area offered by the conductor towards the wind load is also reduced, which means as the area is reducing, here you can see the conductor, they will be only having a little bit wind stress, as the cross sectional area or the area to which the wind is being exposed is little bit less for the case of a copper. So what happens is there is no much stress due to the wind. And the next property is that, or next advantage it is having is, it is quite homogeneous. The material is homogeneous. Then the second one is durable. It is it is having a long life, as well as it is having a high scrap value. Its scrap value is very high, which means that it is having a higher cost. And due to this higher cost and non availability of copper, it is rarely used for the transmission line purposes. It is having high cost, so it is not easy to make economically. We cannot meet the transmission line, whole transmission line. We cannot go in an economical way. So that is why we are not going for copper actually. Even though it is having ideal properties, we cannot go for copper. Nowadays the trend is to use aluminum in place of copper. So instead of copper, now we are going for aluminum. So next we are going to go through which are the different properties of aluminum. Even though it is little bit less ideal than uh, the copper, still it is having some properties which makes it better. The conductivity of aluminum is 60% that of copper. So the smaller conductivity, which means the cross sectional area should be larger in the case of aluminum. When comparing with copper, when you're considering copper and aluminum, okay, aluminum should have more area to pass the same current. Why? Because its conductivity is less. Okay, or we can also say that the diameter of aluminum conductor is 1.26 times that of the copper conductor. Okay, the increased cross sectional area, because of this increased cross sectional area, what happens? It is exposed to wind, or the wind stress is very high. Okay, so that is the second disadvantage when compared with copper, but still it is better when compared with other conductors. Let's move on to the next one, the specific gravity. So one more thing I wanted to mention is increased cross sectional area makes its a greater surfaces being exposed towards the wind pressure. So what is the problem is the supporting towers, it should have a greater traverse strength, and this is why we are using higher towers for the case of aluminum. So I hope you understood what is it. The conductors, if it is having a high wind pressure, it will be having a greater mechanical stress, isn't it? Wind stress is higher, which means the support should be strong enough to withstand these type of mechanical or wind stress. So for that, what is done is this the height of the towers are increased. The height of the towers are increased. So that is the reason higher towers are required for the case of aluminum conductors. So next comes the property. Okay, one more thing is because of the higher towers, it is having a greater sag. Because of the length of the supports are greater, it is having a greater sag. So the sag we will study in the coming videos what is meant by sag, but briefly you should know what is sag. What is sag? If you are having high towers, if you are having two towers like this, which is at a greater height, we have to keep the conductors in between the two poles like this. Okay, and these are not drawn as straight lines. These are not drawn as straight lines. What happens if you are giving it as a straight line? What happens when any stress comes to this conductor? This conductor will break. So instead of keeping the conductors in a straight line, it is given a small curve, or we can say This one is known as a sag. So normally when you just observe the poles and the conductors in between the poles, you can see that they are slightly hanging from the straight structure, isn't it? So this is known as sag, and it is given for handling this mechanical stress, wind stress, mechanical stress, etc. Otherwise the conductors will break. So this is known as sag. So if we are increasing the height of the towers for aluminum, it is required. Why? Because the tower strength should be high. Tower strength should be high, which means it should be in a a higher length. The height should be very high. So because of this high towers, the sag also becomes higher. So that is the next disadvantage when compared with the copper conductor. Next comes the specific gravity. So what is specific gravity? As we already mentioned, weight to volume. Okay, so this is weight to volume for the aluminium. It is very lower when compared with the copper. Okay, which means that the weight is less for the case of aluminium when compared with copper. So which means that aluminium conductor has almost one half of the weight of a copper conductor. Okay, that is good for some reasons, but still it is having some disadvantages. Okay, so for this reason, what is the advantages? The supporting structures need not be made so strong, so that as that of the case of copper conductors. But aluminium being light, that is a disadvantage. Aluminium being light, it is liable to greater swings. Because of the wind, the swing will be very high, and because of this reason, longer cross arms are required in the case of aluminium. These are known as cross arms. These are known as cross arms. So these cross arms are, the length of the cross arms should be higher. Why? Because if the swing is greater, there is a chance for the conductors to touch each other, isn't it? So instead of this one, we have to keep, or for removing this problem, we have to keep longer cross arms. So that is the disadvantage of being the aluminium being light in weight. Okay, now next one is lowest tensile strength. That is the next one. These all properties are done with respect to the copper conductor. So due to the lower tensile strength and higher coefficient of linear expansion of aluminium, the sag is greater in the case of aluminium conductors. It is having higher coefficient of linear expansion, which means due to the climatic conditions, the temperature variations, it is having a linear expansion, and due to which the sag also increases. It tries to hang some more greater. Then next comes, okay, so these are the properties, and due to this combined properties of cost, conductivity, tensile strength, weight, etc., aluminium is better than copper because of some more reasons, like that support strength should be lesser. Why? Because it is light. Similarly, different cost is less, conductivity is better, no, not as that good of that of copper. So due to these reasons, especially for the cost case, we can go for aluminum. In the case of the in the case of long transmission lines, we will go for aluminum. It has to carry heavy current, as well as the conductor size is large, but still the cost forms a main important proportion of the total cost, and that is why we go for aluminum. Now we are going to study another new important conductor, which is known as aluminum conductor steel reinforced. So we studied that there are some disadvantages for aluminum. Due to its low tensile strength, it is having greater sag. Aluminum is having greater sag, all those things. So due to this greater sag, it is unsuitable for long transmission lines. And in order to increase the tensile strength, as well as the strength has to be increased, so we will go for another new method, and this is known as steel cored aluminum or aluminum conductor steel reinforced. That is ACSR conductors. So what is our intention is to increase the mechanical strength of, or the tensile strength of the conductor. And this is done by reinforcing the aluminum conductors with galvanized steel wire core. Okay, so a core is used at the middle, and the aluminum conductors are kept at the periphery, so that the current is carried by the aluminum as well as the mechanical strength is being met by by the galvanized steel. Okay, here you can see composite conductor. This is known as ACSR. Steel cored aluminum conductor consists of central core of galvanized steel wire and surrounded by number of aluminum strands. Usually the diameter of both these are same. I'll show you a figure. So both the diameter of the steel as well as the aluminum both are same. So here you can see a figure. Galvanized steel is kept here, as well as the aluminum is also kept at the periphery surrounding the galvanized steel. Now, what about the cross sectional area? You can say here how much is the ratio of the cross sectional area. If the steel is only 1.1, then you can see there are 6 such conductors, or when we are comparing the ratio of their cross sectional area, we can say it is about 1 is to 6. Okay, 1 is to 6, or it can be also modified to 1 is to 4 in order to get more tensile strength. So next one is steel cord conductor. One steel wire is there and 6 aluminum wires. You can see the figure here, and the result is that the steel core takes the greater percentage of mechanical strength, whereas the aluminum strands, they carry bulk of the current. Why? Because due to skin effect, we know that in AC, when the conductors are carrying AC current, there is a effect called as skin effect. So the major of the current will be passed through the periphery. So this is done by aluminum, which is ideal for conduction, whereas the steel gives the mechanical strength. So this is a composite structure, and this is known as ACSR conductors. Reinforcement with the steel increases the tensile strength, but at the same time it keeps the composite conductor light. Why? Because aluminum is having light weight. Therefore, the steel cord aluminum conductors, they will produce smaller sag because of the steel, and longer spans can be used because the cost is less. Due to the smaller sag with the steel cord aluminum, towers of smaller heights can be also used. Next comes, so ACSR conductors are the most commonly used method. Still, we will be going through 2 more methods which are used in the conductors as conductors. Next one is the galvanized steel. Steel is having a very high tensile strength, which is ideal. Okay, and this is used for extremely long spans, or also for short line sections which are exposed to high stress of climatic conditions. So if the high stress of or due to the climatic conditions, it is very high, for short lines we will use galvanized steel, as well as it is also used for extremely long spans, and it is very suitable for rural areas because it is very cheap. Okay, and due to its poor conductivity and high resistance of steel, it is not normally used for transmitting the large power along a long distance. So for long distance transmission, normally we will be going for ACSR, but still for some rare cases we will go for this galvanized steel. Okay, so however, they can be used to advantage for transmitting a small power over a small distance. Were the size of the copper conductor is desirable, from the economic conditions, it would be too small, and thus the unsuitable for the use because of poor mechanical strength. So because of the mechanical strength, due to these all reasons, for small power over a small distance can be done with the help of galvanized steel. Last one is the cadmium copper. Cadmium copper is actually an alloy actually. 1 or 2 percentage of cadmium is added to copper to increase the tensile strength. By adding this one itself, 50 percentage tensile strength is being increased, and the conductivity, but it is only reduced by 15 percentage. So that is a good method, isn't it? So this is an alloy, and therefore the cadmium copper can be used for exceptionally long spans. So these 2 types are mainly used in rare conditions. However, due to the high cost of cadmium, such conductors will be only economical for the case of small cross-sectional areas where the cost of the conductor material is comparatively small compared to the cost of the supports. So in cases where the the conductor cost is small compared with the support cost, we can go for this method, that is the cadmium copper method. Hope you all understood. Thank you everyone for listening. Stay tuned.